How's it going, guys? Today I have a brand new deck profile list for you for a deck I've been working on for about a month now, give or take. It's not 100% complete. There's going to be a few card changes here and there, but I'm pretty happy with how it is. I've been watching lots of videos about this deck for many weeks now, to the point where I'm kind of sick of watching videos about it, but I'm really happy to have something that is somewhat meta viable now. All my previous decks weren't really meta relevant. Like Crystal Beast, I'm not going to take that to a tournament. My Cyber Dragon deck is outdated. My Hero deck could probably do pretty well, but compared to all these hand traps, not really. This one, however, with how small the engine is and how much room there is in this deck for all these crazy hand traps and other things like that, it's way more relevant than any other deck I've made beforehand, and I'm super excited. So obviously I am going to be sleeving up this deck for you guys in time lapse, and then we'll do the deck profile once I have all the cards I want for the deck, which for you guys will be a split second. For me, it's going to be probably about another week, especially since I have to work the next few days. But I should be getting pretty much all the rest of my cards I need for this either tonight or tomorrow, or sorry, Monday, because Sunday I don't get mail delivered here. But everything else I pretty much already have, and I'll explain some of the differences I had originally versus what I plan on using instead, just to give you guys a little bit of a kind of a weird like contrast, so to speak. So let's get the time lapse set up and enjoy it. Maybe I'll add music this time. So for the first part, of course, it's Tenpai Dragon. I'm going to be using pink sleeves for the main deck and green for the extra deck. Pink also for the side deck. So I'll be sleeving these up. And these were some other cards I was going to use, but I ended up not going for this fusion thing because honestly these cards weren't really necessary. With all the disruption in this deck, I just thought popping a random card for a fusion off my opponent's field wasn't necessary, because I'm usually probably going to start with a Black Rose Dragon or something like that, but we'll get into that. So that is pop off with the time lapse. Okay, so I just pre-sleeve the cards. I'm going to use the regular sleeves next, but just before we get into it, there was a few honorable mentions for the sleeves I was going to use. First being Wisdom, which is a nice blue. Soul, which I already used for one of my other decks I worked on recently, a nice purple color. And last but not least, Amber, which is like this nice orange, which kind of actually does match pretty well with the set. But I landed on purple, or pink, diamond pink, and power, which is a shiny green. I like the contrast. I was actually going to switch the colors. I was going to use green for the main deck and then pink for the side deck or extra deck, but I decided to go against that, and instead I'm going with the, the opposite. But now that I see it, blue and pink actually looks pretty nice too. That's what I was originally going to go for, because it kind of the colors were themed around Momosuke and Kaido from One Piece, respectively. I'm sure I butchered that one pronunciation, but he's one of the big characters from the Wano Kingdom arc, or saga, actually. But I like the green one more, so we're going with green. So let's get to the main sleeves. What's up, guys? Welcome back after all that sleeving and things like that. This is a few days after my original recording session, but this is my fifth version of this deck. I recorded this part 4 different times with different versions of this deck, but this one is the one that I landed on that I think I want to show off the most. The other ones are pretty damn similar. I'll explain the differences at the end of the video, but we'll get into it real quick. This is heavily inspired by a YouTuber by the name of Kamon K-A-M-O-N. The list is basically identical to his, but there's a few differences due to me A, not having some of the cards, or B, me just preferring a certain card or strategy over the other. So there will be some differences here, and yeah, let's get right into it. So first up, 3 copies of Tenpai Dragon Pydra. Yes, it's Pydra, not Padra or Pod. I'm just gonna say Pydra. I already made the thumbnail. I'm gonna stick with the name. This is your main spell and trap searcher. He will let you get your big field spell or your big search card out from your deck. Very useful, extremely good card. That's why you run 3 of them. 3 copies of Chundra, who is your, basically it's your level 4 tuner as well as a special summon with its effect. Really nice card, and plus I think, let's see. Yeah, and plus when it attacks you could special summon another Tenpai Dragon from your deck except for Chundra, which is actually a video I saw the other day where someone summoned a Chundra using Chundra's effect, and you can't do that, so that guy should have been caught red-handed, but nope, they let him do it. Very excellent card for this deck. And 1 copy of Fedora, or Fadra. Obvious reasons why I'm calling it Fedora. You don't need more than 1 of these, honestly, and it's the same thing Kamon said. It's just, if you have 2 of these, it's a little too much. You can easily search this out with these guys or one of the spell cards. This card's effect is basically just a monster reborn. When it's summoned, it summons another card onto the field. Plus, there's an extra deck monster you have that has the same effect as it, basically. So 1 of them is enough, and you don't need more than that. Plus, it's kind of a dead card if you need a certain card and you draw that by mistake. It could be useful, but sometimes if you're going first or second, you don't want to get a card that works with the graveyard when you don't have a graveyard. 1 Bastille Magamute. I run 1 of them because I do like its effect a lot, plus he lets me search out my dragons. I only have a very small core of dragons, so I would like a card that lets me search these out as much as I can if I don't get my field spell or my search engine going. So it's good to have 1 of them, plus it's a pretty decently beefy monster, so I like that. So that's why I run 1 of them. Next up, the Hand Trap Core, and this is why a lot of people hate this deck, but personally, I love this deck a lot, and no shade. 3 Ash Blossoms to make sure your opponent can't add cards from their deck to their hand. 3 Ghost Bells, so your opponent can't use their graveyard. 3 Not Once Per Turn Effect Veilers, just to lock your opponent out from certain card effects. And 3 Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, basically once per turn effect Veiler, but a little bit better since it also affects spell and trap cards. So yeah, I run, this is basically what he ran in his deck, and that's why I kind of wanted to say this is inspired by him. I won't bring Kamon back up in the rest of this video, I promise, but I just wanted to say that 1 last time, just in case. You know, people sometimes will be like, wait a minute, this deck looks awfully familiar. That's why I wanted to say it, guys. Great content creator, so check them out. Next up, the spell and trap cards. 3 Sengen Summoning. This is your field spell. This lets your fire of dragon monsters, it protects your fire dragon monsters, and it also buffs your big boy for an OTK later in the game. Sengen Kaiman. On the battle phase, this lets you search out 1 of your Tenpai Dragons, as well as lets you special summon your Tenpai Dragon. Super powerful card. 3 Pot of Prosperity. Very great search card. You're not going to be using a lot of your extra deck for this strategy at all, so you're going to have 6 free cards just to get rid of, so you can easily look for a piece for your combo. Plus, you can easily beat through the half damage restriction that this card has. 1 terraforming to help out search out the failed spell if necessary. 1 called by the grave just to stop your opponent from using certain hand traps. Sorry for that tap. 3 forbidden droplet, just a very excellent card in my opinion, and learned recently it synergizes very well with another card that I have, Harpy's Feather Duster, which isn't the card I'm talking about, just really good back row removal, and Lightning Storm, which is both back row and front row removal depending on what you need. Plus you could combo this with forbidden droplet if you have both in your hand and just screw your opponent. Super nice. Next for the trap cards, I don't have Infinite Impermanence yet. I am actually kind of surprised it's not here yet. I ordered that like about the same time I ordered the rest of these cards and I still didn't get it, but it is what it is. Right now I'm having 3 Dimensional Barrier, which is going to be swapped out for Terraforming, or Infinite Impermanence, and then 1 Rivalry of the Warlords. Excuse me, I have a stutter apparently. Not a big deal. Since this is a primarily dragon-based deck, this is a fantastic card to have. I dug through my collection for like 10 minutes to look for this card because I knew I had the structure deck it came in, and finally found it. I only have 1 copy. I'm not going to use more than 1 anyway, and I'll probably scrap it at some point if it just doesn't do well. But right now it's just a floater, so it's kind of useful to have since, you know, if I side deck in something, I'm like, okay, well that card is an instant side out. So really nice setup, definitely my favorite so far. And then we'll go into the side deck next, just for the hell of it. 2 Dino-Russo Prankatops, just really good disruption, and it's a special summon, so you can have a little bit of an extra body on the field if you don't want to use his destruction effect. 3 DD Crow for banishment. You could also do 3 copies of Dimensional Shifter, but I went with DD Crow just like he did. I know I said I wouldn't bring him up again, I just broke my rule. But I think this card is just way more useful since... I mean, it is a target to be fair, but at the same time, I don't know. I'm torn between using one or the other. I might go with Dimension Shifter though, because I think his effect overall is better. 1 Necro Valley. And 3 Crossout Designator. I looked up rulings about this, and I'm pretty sure I can combo these 2 off one another, kinda, where I use Crossout Designator to banish Necro Valley, and the reason why I personally use it is because a friend of mine uses Necro Valley deck, so for me that's kind of helpful to have in my extra deck, just so I could disrupt that play. And yeah, I used to main deck this, and I don't anymore. It's just not that good of a card to have, unless if you really, really want to use it. In fact, I'm straight up thinking about just scrapping it all together and using some other cards, but I haven't really decided that 100%. But if I do, I'll probably side in Dimensional Shifter in place, just so I have some extra hand trap power. 3 Cosmic Cyclone, which is a very nice banish effect, and 3 Heat Wave, because I'm a cheeky bastard and I really like this card. Sue me. And although I'm also thinking about doing this, where I, instead of Crossout Designator, I just do Tactics Thrust and 1 Tactics Talent that I just dropped on the floor. Hold on. And then Dimension Shifter instead of DD Crow, just so it's a little bit more unique instead of just outright copying a guy's side deck. But that's... let me know what you guys think about that. Too bad the side deck is only a 15 card limit. I wish it was 20 cards, man. Like, a little extra wiggle room would help, but I could understand the limitation. It would be pretty broken to have an infinite side deck, you know? And last, but certainly not least, the side deck. We'll start from the bottom. That is not the bottom I wanted. Sorry. Striker Dragon, which is just a generic, in this deck at least, a generic Link 1. Heavenly Spheres. SP Little Knight. Yes, it's the Asian English copy. I'm not spending $150 on a single card. World Sea Dragon Zelantis. Fire Charmer Ablaze. Bestower of Flames. And a Raging Phoenix. So if your opponent if I get dimensional barrier, I can go into my link set up here and easily counter that. One Odd Eyes, which prevents activated card effects, which is nice. One Black Rose Dragon, which combined with Singen Summoning is basically a guaranteed board wipe, which is fantastic. One Ruddy Rose Dragon. One Bastille Dispater or Dispater. God damn it, I tried every time. Two Bident Dragion, which is basically a bigger, better Fedora. This is the card I was mentioning earlier. This card lets you special summon a card from your graveyard, so it's very powerful. One Transcendent Dragion and one Trident Dragion, which is your OTK big boy. You can use his effect to pop a random card, specifically one of these two, because they could be special summoned out. Really any card. And then a summoning, because that way he has 3 attacks total, and this card doubles his attack permanently. So you're basically being hit by 1800 points of damage. And your opponent's field will probably be empty or fairly empty, because this is a god level going second deck. So that is my Tenpai Dragon deck, and I feel good about this retake because it's not a 15-minute freaking clip like last time. So let me know what you guys think about my deck, if I should swap out any of my extra deck or side deck monsters or cards in general. I have a few cards I could swap in here if I could find them real quick. Really, those are like my options right there. So let me know. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys next time I do the video. What's it going? I'm keeping that in. It's been a while. What's it? Fuck. Okay.